Today I'm with Martin. What's up, man?
Good, yeah. How's things, Rami?
So you're the owner of Fusion Training Center. You also have a CrossFit gym and you're located in
Yeah,
Ireland.
that's me. Yeah,
And, and so I was actually looking at PayPal earlier because at the time, that's the payment processor I was using. Now I use Stripe. And I think the first invoice was May 17th, 2018. But then right before this interview, we're like, it seems like actually it was maybe more like 2017. So
yeah.
probably 6, 7 years we've been working together, right? And let's go back to when we first started working together, maybe 2018, maybe 2017, 6, 7 years ago. What were the main challenges that you were facing at the time in terms of attracting new leads and new members to your gym?
So for the first few years, we had just used boost posts on Facebook, and had
Hmm.
been pretty successful. So there was no frilly stuff. It was just like an image with text, and it worked really effective, especially at the start. At the very start, it was like really effective, and then it started to go downhill fast to the point where we were like, at a point, I suppose we were lost in it, that we knew that we didn't know what to do next, and we were looking for guidance and help. And around that same time, you just sent me the email, and it was like, "Hey, Remy Meyer here," and you just like, take a leap of faith job, you know. And it came at just the right time for us. We had some trouble on the horizon that I didn't know about yet. But basically, you came in and you said, "Let me try and take a look at the ads. Let me see if I can help." And from the minute we launched the very first ad, things went absolutely ballistic. It was, like we said, it might have been around May. I feel like it was October though. I feel like it was like going to be, I can remember it was dark and wet out, and I was already depressed. So I feel like it was October when we started working together. And I feel like maybe that was a different handle from then. But it shouldn't have been like a super busy time. And now you didn't have all the stuff in place that you have now. So it was like I was just getting the leads were just coming directly to me. And it was just like waves and waves of numbers and people's names. And it was ballistic. Yeah.
Yeah. And were you skeptical at first when you started working with me?
Yeah.
And if so, what convinced you to give it a try?
So yeah, it was complete. Like I had actually had a bad experience with somebody else prior to meeting yourself. So I was like, this guy sold me this course, and he was like, "Don't worry, you'll get 100% support with what I'm doing, and if you run into problems, I'll give you your money back." And I'm not a techie dude whatsoever, so I was like, "Sure, look, he's after giving me your money back guaranteed." And basically, I tried to sort it for a couple of weeks. We tried everything that we could to get it going, and we just couldn't get it working. Whatever this guy was trying to do. And then we went back to him and he was like, "No, you've waited too long. You weren't putting in the thing," which is a lie. We had tried our absolute best. So I was already on the fence of after being screwed over. But I also knew that something needed to happen. Otherwise, you know what I mean? Business wasn't going to be there
Right.
much longer. That was where my head was at. So I was like, it's worth a leap of faith. And you had come in at the start. And because of what you had done at that point, I knew you could do what you were supposed to do. So there was no question of it anymore. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't once we cut literally the first time we launched, within the first 24 hours, there was no mystery that you knew exactly what you were doing. And yeah,
Right.
but to answer your question, yeah, completely skeptical because I had run into awful scams before. So I wanted to make sure, obviously, that this one was legit. Like I said, 24
Yeah.
hours into work together officially, I knew that you knew exactly what you were doing.
Right away, once we launched the campaign, how many leads were you getting? How many new clients were you able to acquire at the time? And actually, it was so many leads that at the beginning, actually, you needed to get organized a little bit with that because you were
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
overwhelmed with the leads, right? Tell me a bit more
Oh,
about
completely
that time.
overwhelmed. Yeah. So I don't think any advertising had ever been done like that in this area. So it was absolutely ballistic is the word I use for it. It was one of them things that like I was awake at 4 in the morning and new leads were coming in. Who's on his phone at 4 in the morning looking to sign up to a gym? But people were blowing up my phone at that time as well, trying to get in on the offer that we had put up. So it was mad. I think after 2 or 3 days, I was actually like, "Yeah, can you turn that off now?" Because it was too mad. That kind of way. So that's what I'm saying. Nobody around here had ever seen advertising on this scale before. And
Yeah.
uh, straight away, our numbers in the gym started going up. I think we had quickly had 100 members on the books pretty fast. And suddenly my gym I was able to sit down confidently and start planning out what was going on. There was no more the fear of wondering what's going to be happening with me in the gym and my livelihood, if that makes sense. I'm sure there's many gyms in that situation, especially with the price of inflation and everything going up.
And so that was 6, 7 years ago. We're not quite sure, but at least six
Yeah.
years, yeah. And so over the next few years, since 2018 up to now, how was your client acquisition and what have you been able to achieve with the system?
So I had brushed upon it earlier, but I didn't know I was going to have a problem about either it was a year later or 2 years later. And my lease was up in the gym, and the person who owned my building had decided he wasn't going to give me a new lease. So we had to be at that point. I had no choice but to batten down the hatches and burn the boats and just jump in. And basically, with the power of the market system, I was able to purchase my unit at the end of the year. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without the market. That's being 100% honest with you, because we were getting all the people on membership. The bank could see how healthy the business was. And at that point, then they were like, okay, you're in a good place. But previously, the year before, it wasn't been happening. So that was the first big one, and was to be able to buy the gym. Then obviously there were some setbacks on a global level there. We had COVID kind of kick in. We were able to, every time we reopened, switch back on the adverts, flood the gym again, get people into buying into what we were doing, which is the coaching. Whether we could be boots on the ground or people who were training from home, us selling coaching is what I was preaching to the members. And that's what I love to do. Then from there, then I was able to, as soon as COVID was over, I purchased my house. And since COVID as well, it's been going from strength to strength. Last August, we put a second floor in the facility.
Wow, that's nice. So first milestone was buying the facility. Second milestone was purchase your house. And then third milestone is to expand the facility, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And how did that change your life? Like on a more personal level, how did that change your life, if I may ask?
I suppose like the big one for me is that I have a confidence in what we're doing. I have a confidence in the adverts that I know that every time we turn them on, there's going to be traffic, that kind of way. So previous, as I had spoken about when we were doing the boot pods, they were becoming less and less effective. And you have to fear, you're like, oh, when is it just going to dry up completely? But truth be, as we were saying, 6 or 7 years or whatever it is, we're working together now. Every time we turn on the adverts, the leads come, the sign-ups happen. And yeah, it gives you a confidence in what we're doing here, and that this is going to be sustainable and long term.
And how about your time, your freedom? Did that change because you were maybe able to hire more team members? I know that now you're traveling more often for your competitions, your MMA competitions. And also, how did that change the impact that you have on your local community? Tell us a bit more, not just business growth and numbers, but how about freedom and impact?
Yeah, so like you said, you touched on it there. I get to do more of what I love based on the fact that we have other staff in here, and my staff want the hours. They're delighted to be taking the hours. I compete at jiu-jitsu. Previously, I went over to Las Vegas. My whole gym is running itself here. I'm able to go visit family for Christmas and know that everything back home is running itself. And also knowing that the minute I get back, we're into kind of a busier time, and that when I turn back on the adverts, it's straight back to work with the confidence to know that everything is going to start churning itself out again.
And according to you, what is the secret sauce with the way we run those ads, the way we market, the way we sell, the positioning, the messaging? What is that secret sauce that we're using here with the HolosBody system?
I'd say there's probably more than one. When I signed up at the start, that's what we were saying. Your system, you were developing it, you were refining it. And now you have the platform, all the communication with the clients run through the app. You have things booking the schedule. You have AI responding to text messages if need be. See, it's all there now. And when I was at the start, for me, we touched on it. It was a bit overwhelming, but like I wasn't complaining because I had been a business without any leads for over a year, and then suddenly I had
Right.
loads of leads coming in. So that laying it out like that, I suppose that's probably the bigger part, is knowing that it's all working itself out into the schedule now. The second part is it's laid out well. There's a system in place which starts with the advert, where the lead goes into the consultation, and we're planning out the first 6 to 12 weeks for the client, so we can put it all in place at the start. I know previously when I opened my business at the start, we were following up with leads like we should have been. we weren't doing aftercare of clients and stuff. So I think what we're selling now is just 100% more effective. And you can see that in the retention rate of the members.
Awesome. Awesome. I think I interviewed you like maybe 3-4 years ago
Yeah.
already. And I remember you told me that at the time, since 2018 to maybe 2020, something like that, you were able to consistently bring in 10 new clients a week when you were advertising. Is that still the
Yeah.
case 6-7 years later? Is that still the case when we turn the ads on, you get 10 clients a week?
I would say on average, that's probably correct. It's been obviously a busier season for me at the minute. So it's actually a bit, probably higher than that at the minute. I think there was 40 signed up since the 15th of January. That's an outrageous number. It's brilliant. But that's what I'm saying. It's knowing that we have the ability to do this. That kind of can give a business owner confidence, and you can plan out what you're doing for your gym, because when other gyms are hitting the quieter season, I don't believe we have, because we know it's coming. So we turn on the adverts prior to it. And if you refilms it the whole time, that kind of makes sense. So 10 on average would be fair, especially for CrossFit. But then at the same time, I've had busier seasons like now. There was 40 signed up, and it's just the 15th of January.
And just to be clear here, that's 25 days, right? Right now, we are recording this is February 9th. And since January 15th, there would be 25 days. So if I do some math here, if I do 40 divided by 25, that's 1.6 clients a day, basically, that you're getting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
To be honest, I actually think February could be busier because the landscape has slightly shifted from when we first opened the gym 10 years ago. When we opened the gym 10 years ago, maybe the first Monday of the month, things will kick off. But it's actually a lot colder in Ireland at that time of the year now. It seems like it moved back from December into January. So it was a little bit quieter here for the first 2 weeks before we turned on the ads. So it felt cold. And I see like people didn't really want to be out and about. So I feel like that's going to carry into February now, possibly into March, rather than just January, if that makes sense.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. And also, I know how much you're spending on ads, and it's really not that much at all. You're only spending 10 euro per day. And so it has been 25 days. So basically, that's 250 euro. And if I do 250 euro divided by the 40 clients you got, you're only spending 6.25 euro to get the clients. That's awesome. Because then you get them on a high ticket program, right? You do a transformational program. It's not just for the CrossFit membership. It's more like of a high ticket program, correct?
Yeah. And I suppose I like to sell what people need as well. I wouldn't have signed them all up for the highest ticket program because our transformation program is so busy. I can recommend, I click on the ones that actually fit the bill. So the ones that don't, I wouldn't transfer into that. I would just recommend coming in for membership. If they can't commit and they're not the right fit, I'd put them into a lower end of program. But that's because my transformation program is actually so busy.
Awesome. And looking back, how would you describe the impact that this system and this marketing services have had on the growth of your gym membership over time?
If someone asked me when you went from where we were at, which was 6 or 7 years ago, to just being able to buy the building to all the other stuff we've accomplished since, I would 100% say, look, it comes down to being able to get the leads in the door. It doesn't matter how good I am at sales if I'm not getting leads in the door. I'm good at sales, so when we combine the two things together, and it's nuclear, that kind of way. So can't overstate how much I think that the effect this has had on my business.
Yeah. And you're not the oldest. You're not the oldest client, but you're one of my oldest clients. And what do you think has made the system so sustainable for you the last 6-7 years?
For me, I think it's the fact that I don't actually think about it. It's the fact that you do that. You're thinking about the techie part. Like the landscape is changing over and over again. I get to do what I like. So I get to do it. I like doing sales. I like teaching classes. I like to take part. I like to train. That's the stuff I like to do. You look after all the techie stuff. You're looking after the evolving market. I am just literally, the leads come in, I follow my system, and that's the way it works. I don't have to worry about what's going on in the metaverse and all of that. Like, anyway, that's your job. And I'm happy for you to do it. And somewhere in the middle, the magic happens.
All right. What advice would you give to other gym owners, maybe considering implementing the HolosBody program to gain those new gym members? What would you tell them if they were skeptical about it? Maybe it might sound too good to be true. Getting 40 new clients in 25 days, only 26 € and 25 cents to get a new client. What would you tell them? It might sound too good to be true, this type of results. €6 to get a client. What would you tell them?
I'd say more than I went through the same thought process. I'd be honest. I went through the same thought process, being like, having been scammed, I was like, is this a scam? But I also knew, for me, it was a lot different then because you didn't have many. I don't think you had any Irish clients. So I wasn't someone I could directly speak to. So now it's different. You have so many clients that someone can go talk to them directly. That you can say, look, speak to Martin or speak to Michael there. But then it wasn't like that. But I went through the exact same thought process. If you want to succeed, I think you have to commit. I think you have to commit to something and say, you know what, burn the boats, go for it. And I think if you fully commit to it, it will 100% transform your business as well as people's lives. That kind of way.
As a gym owner, you're a business owner. You're not just a coach. You can coach as a hobby, but as the business owner, your job is to focus on marketing, sales, system, growing your team. You shouldn't be the one coaching all the time. And so 80% of what you do should be marketing, sales, client acquisition, and that should be your number one priority. So if you think it's too good to be true, we do have all of the strategies that you need to grow your gym. Now you're still going to have to do the work. I'm not going to come to your gym to do the work for you. So that's why it's not a magic pill, because the work will still need to be done. Right?
Yeah. Look, it's no more than what we're doing with clients. That kind of way. We can only give them the information and then they'll have to carry it out. We can't call, if somebody's trying to lose weight, we can't call to their house to cook the things for them. But we can just recommend this is what's actually working for other members. The people who want to have a problem with it will definitely find a problem, but the people who are looking for a solution will also find a solution. And some people may even be able to say, look, I actually did it slightly different, and then this is how we keep improving the system.
All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap up here?
No, just thanks a million for everything over the years. It's easy for me to put things into place and plan for the future when I know exactly like we just said, it's coming to January. We knew we had to get back to business, and I have my goal for Fusion Training Center is to create a premium training facility and being able to put things into motion and the plans that we have, knowing that we'll be able to take on clients all the time. You doing your job makes my job easier. So thanks a million, Ronnie.
My pleasure, man. And congrats for those awesome results you've had over the years. You have been able to sustain an amazing growth. I'm super happy you've been able to expand and get more freedom and more impact through your business. That's awesome.
Thanks a million,
All
buddy.
right, man. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Cheers. Talk soon. Bye-bye.